Clinical trials test new ways to treat patients with cancer. What you are about to see is the story of a woman's experience as she decides whether to participate in a cancer clinical trial. Although it's fictional, it was inspired by 65 interviews with Black breast cancer survivors, patient advocates, oncologists, and clinical trial staff. We thank each of them for their contribution to this important work. Now, let's take a look at Claudia's story.
Hi. Hello.
So what did your doctor say at your appointment last week?
Well, like I told you, we know that it's breast cancer. He wanted to do some more tests, and he said there may be a clinical trial treatment option for me. I have to go back tomorrow for another visit.
Do you want me to come with you? When I had breast cancer, having someone with me at my appointments was so helpful.
I'm scared. I haven't had the best experiences with doctors in the past. To be honest, I don't really trust them. I don't even feel like they are listening half of the time.
And as a nurse, I hear people say that all the time, unfortunately. When I was going through my cancer journey, having a doctor that I could trust and could talk to was so important.
Trusting is hard. When he mentioned a clinical trial, to be honest, I didn't really understand what he was talking about. I don't want to be a test dummy. I've heard too many stories of Black people who have been mistreated in research. What made you do the whole clinical trial thing?
Well, I was worried at first too, but then I learned that researchers have to stick to really strict guidelines when they're conducting clinical trials. During my trial, I was monitored closely, and I felt like I got really good care. A lot's changed in how research is conducted.
I do want to know all of my options, but part of me feels like let's just do the normal cancer stuff and we'll figure the rest out later.
Well, clinical trials do help us find treatments that are better than what's currently available. Unfortunately, only about 4% of patients in breast cancer trials are Black, even though we're more likely to die from it.
Yeah, but you know I've had bad experiences with getting care in the past. Plus, how do I know a clinical trial would even work?
Treatments have to go through a lot of tests before they can be given to even one person in a trial. For my clinical trial, they were trying to find out if the treatment worked better than the treatments that were already available. I've been cancer-free for 5 years, so I can't say what the best decision is for you, but it was a good decision for me.
That's helpful. But I'm not sure. I still have so many questions.
As you should. You need to know all of your options. Ask the doctor about it. Now tomorrow, I'll take notes for you at your appointment, and we'll make sure the doctor answers all of your questions. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Ooh, let's have some pound cake.
Ooh! I've been waiting for a pound.
So, Claudia, you mentioned at our last visit that you wanted to know all of your options for treating your breast cancer. Should we go over those again?
Actually, I was hoping you could tell me more about clinical trials. I really don't know much about them.
Sure. Clinical trials test promising new treatments that might be better than the standard treatment, but we don't know for certain if they are. Through a clinical trial, you can get access to a new way to treat cancer that's not always available to the general public. It's how we come up with better ways to treat people with cancer.
Are they safe? I don't want to be a guinea pig.
Clinical trials are designed to be as safe and as ethical as possible. They're conducted in several phases. The initial phases are all about making sure the treatment is safe and seeing if there are any side effects, while the later phases find out how well the treatment works compared to what's currently available. Historically, Black women have not had access to these treatments, and so I want to make sure you know all of your options before deciding on treatment. Either way, you'll get the best possible care, and we'll monitor you very closely during and after the treatment.
I was monitored very closely to see if the treatments were helping or causing any side effects.
Monitoring sounds like more doctor visits. I work full-time, and I'm already worried about missing time with treatment. Would doing a clinical trial mean more visits? Will this end up costing me more money out of my pocket?
Those are valid concerns, and it really depends on the trial. Some require more of your time and others don't. Most normal care is covered by your insurance, but if it isn't, typically the trial will cover it. Regardless, we have a lot of clinical and social support services we can connect you with.
It's a lot, I know. But you don't have to make a decision today about treatment. Today is all about fact-finding and learning what options are good for you.
Dinah's absolutely right. Having breast cancer wasn't your choice, but what you do for treatment is entirely your decision. Whether you choose standard treatment, a clinical trial, or something else, I'll support your decision, and I'll provide you with the best possible care that I can.
Well, is there a clinical trial option that might be a good fit for me? I want to know all of my options so I can make the best decision for me.
I asked you to come back in today because I was waiting on your test results, and I think there might be a clinical trial option that works for you. If you look right here, there is...
Claudia has a lot to think about. Thankfully, she has a supportive family and an oncologist who takes the time to listen and address her concerns. You might recognize that Claudia's visit with Dr. Thompson portrays an ideal interaction between a patient and her doctor. It may not be what everyone experiences in that situation. Regardless, everyone deserves to have all of the facts about their treatment options and to have their questions answered. That's how you make decisions that are right for you. Now, let's listen to the personal stories of two patients who were diagnosed with breast cancer and took part in a clinical trial.
Since I was 16 years old, I've been very proactive in my health. I've always, on an annual basis for my birthday present to myself is to get checked out head to toe. So March 6th was when COVID shut down in 2020. And my mammogram was the following week and it got canceled. And I said to myself, now watch me be one of those people that fall through the cracks. Sure enough, 2 years later, on my own, I found a lump in my left breast. On my birthday, March 8th, 2022, they called me and told me it was definitely stage 1 breast cancer. I was presented with an opportunity to be in a trial, and I accepted it for several reasons. The primary reason is her name is Okina April Rose. She's 12 years older. She's my granddaughter. And if I could do anything to make sure she doesn't have to go through this journey, then I accepted being in a trial. Having a plan was wonderful, and the trial actually laid out a good plan for you. I was really excited to take that journey. It was a blessing. So my experience at UNHealth in the oncology department was excellent. The coordinators of the trial, they make you feel comfortable, answer any questions. They were well versed. And when I go back, it's always, hi, Ms. Hall, how are you feeling? And you just feel wonderful. I feel wonderful, and I thank them. I know historically in the United States that African Americans do not participate in clinical trials. We're all in this journey together. We are only strong as our weakest link. So if we participate, get the data and the research needed to really conquer this horrid disease of cancer, then be on board.
I was diagnosed in May of 2021 with 2B triple negative breast cancer. I met up with Dr. Hoskins and he introduced me to a clinical trial. He said, it's up to you, but we reverse it. We start with the chemo first, and after 3 weeks of the chemo, one of my tumors was the size of a golf ball, shrunk to the size of a marble. So it was working. I like the way Dr. Hoskins explained. He went from the end to the beginning, and it made me feel like, okay, I really understand like his method, and you explained it well. The most I was nervous about was getting rid of the cancer. So I was like, I'll take whatever you offer me. I'm ready. But when he offered me the clinical trial, that helped me much better, and I had a more clear mind, and I was very calm then. I went to do my surgery November 19th, and then radiation, and after radiation, the chemo pill for 4 months, and after that, November 28, 2022, I was cancer-free. I felt that being at UI Health, being in the clinical trial with Carrie, my coordinator, she always came to me and she say, how are you feeling? How's your day going? I'm a witness that I have went through the clinical trial, and look at me, 2 years cancer-free, and I'm feeling good. My body is back to normal, my hair back, everything. So I feel that if they come to you and they say you possibly could be in the clinical trial, you should go for it. Yes.
Did you know that less than 4% of breast cancer patients who take part in a clinical trial are Black? Clinical trial participation is important because it provides access to the most promising new cancer treatments. If you want to learn more about cancer clinical trials, like the different types and phases of trials, or programs that help patients with lodging and transportation, or if you want to find a clinical trial that might be right for you, just scan the QR code. You can also search ACS Clinical Trials online to visit the American Cancer Society's Clinical Trials webpage.